Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly uplifting philosophical concept from the author Angel Tara. Her central thesis is it's as simple as it is profound. Life itself is a game. And the really beautiful thing about this perspective is that there are absolutely no age barriers here. Whether you're a kid, a young adult trying to navigate the craziness of the world, or an oldie with decades of experience under your belt, you are actively playing. And since you're already in the game, Tara's philosophy basically says, why stop? Why not actively enjoy it? So in this explainer, we're going to look at exactly how different types of games map onto our everyday human experience, using Tara's really insightful metaphors. Let's get into it.
What if life isn't a struggle, but a game? I want you to just let that sink in for a second. So often we frame life's unpredictability, the sudden shocks, the seemingly unfair twists, as these massive, heavy burdens. We tend to treat the unknown as a source of deep, deep anxiety. But Angel Tara challenges us to completely reframe that whole mindset. If we look at the unpredictability of life not as this punishing struggle, but as the dynamic, engaging mechanics of a game we are all participating in, our entire perspective shifts. We instantly move from being passive victims of circumstance to active players at the board.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1, the ultimate game changer.
Viewing life through the lens of gameplay isn't just some fun little mental trick, it's a profound shift that actually alters how we react to both winning and losing. To really ground our journey today, let's look at Angel Tara's core belief. She writes, "Every game teaches you something, so playing game is a real game changer." It's a bit of a pun, right? But it perfectly establishes the tone of our source material. It's lighthearted, for sure, but it carries some really heavy weight. Because think about it. When you play a game, you are constantly learning. You learn the rules, you pick up on strategy, you learn how to read your opponents, and maybe most importantly, you learn how to handle defeat and victory. Tara is telling us that life is literally no different. By simply recognizing that we are playing, we open ourselves up to the lessons the game is trying to teach us.
Moving right along to Part 2, snakes, ladders, and relationships.
Let's dive into our first specific metaphor, exploring one of the most classic tabletop games in the world. Think about snakes and ladders. In this game, pure chance, just the simple roll of the dice, completely dictates your path. You don't choose your movement, chance does. Sometimes you land on a ladder, and boom, you get to climb up quickly, completely bypassing a lot of the struggle. But other times, you land on a snake, and you are dragged right back down. And honestly, the most painful lesson of the board, which maps so perfectly to real life, is that you can fall even when you are incredibly close to your final destination. You can do everything right, survive the whole board, and right at the finish line, a snake brings you back to square one. It just highlights exactly how unpredictable success can be.
And this leads us to a massive social lesson from Tara's text. She says, maintain relations with those who are down. You don't know who and when will take up the ladders and reach the top before you. Because, when you hit a ladder and climb high, it's pretty easy to look down on the folks still at the bottom. But the game isn't over. The dice keeps rolling. Treating everyone well is absolutely essential because your fellow players might suddenly hit a ladder of their own, and in the blink of an eye, they could completely overtake you. Our fortunes in life, just like on the board, are entirely subject to change.
Next up, Part 3, cards, risk, and strategy.
Now we're leveling up a bit. We're moving from the pure chance of a dice roll to a level of complexity that requires a lot more active participation. When it comes to playing cards, the life lesson really focuses on dealing with the unknown. Just like holding a hand of cards, you have literally no idea what's hidden until you pull up and open your card. There's always that element of suspense. The strategy here isn't just about what cards you're dealt, but deciding exactly how much risk you are willing to take to secure that winning deal. You have to make choices based on incomplete information, and honestly, that is a perfect parallel for almost every major decision we make in our daily lives.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next metaphor, the game of carom. For those of you who play, you know that the ultimate goal is the fight for the queen. But Tara points out that in carom, just one precise strike can change the entire layout of the board. One single action or move can be a complete game changer. In life, we often plug away endlessly, doing the same routine. But sometimes, a single perfectly timed action, a sudden decision, or an unexpected opportunity just strikes the board, scattering the pieces and entirely changing who has the advantage.
All right, Part 4, Monopoly and Material Gains. We're stepping up to perhaps the most complex game metaphor in Tara's text now.
Monopoly is basically the perfect mirror for our real-world navigation of wealth because it beautifully contrasts two very distinct forces. On one hand, you have decisions. That's how you manage your materialistic gains, what properties you decide to buy, and whether you share to charity. But constantly pushing against those decisions is luck. You have fixed rules you simply cannot change, you have sudden surprises, and ultimately you are still at the mercy of the roll of the dice. You can literally have the best strategy in the world, but if you land on the wrong space, well, your strategy is going to be severely tested. Because think about what happens on that board. It's full of sudden scenarios. A roll of the dice can bring a random lottery windfall, giving you a good amount of money to take a massive leap forward in life. But just as easily, the dice can land you in a situation where you get completely isolated from others, like being sent straight to jail in the game. You could lose it all in a sudden turn of events, or you might find yourself in a position where you actually have the opportunity to share your wealth to charity. The game demands that we stay adaptable to both sudden abundance and sudden loss.
Which brings us to part 5, spinning the wheel of life.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it brings all these incredible metaphors together. We've looked at snakes and ladders, cards, carom, Monopoly, and bringing them all together reveals this constant balancing act at the very heart of Terra's philosophy. Throughout all these games, there's a serious tension between decisive action and pure luck. The author explicitly notes that there are areas in the game of life where your choices play a major role in whether you win or lose. Your agency absolutely matters. However, she equally acknowledges that there are situations where literally only luck can save you. Understanding this balance is so key, it prevents us from getting too arrogant when we succeed because, hey, luck played a part, and it keeps us from despairing when we fail, because sometimes it simply wasn't in our hands to begin with.
So how do we handle these inevitable ups and downs? Well, Tara offers this really fun, whimsical culinary metaphor. Step 1, smile. You have to start with a positive baseline. Step 2, have a pinch of salt. Basically, take things with a grain of salt, knowing not everything is as overwhelmingly serious as it seems. Step 3, add a little bit of sugar and butter to sweeten those really hard times. And step 4, apply whatever coating you want. I love this part because this is where your individuality shines. You get to add your own flavor, your own coping mechanisms, and your own unique style to the experience of playing the game. And that brings us to the final, profound takeaway from the text. The wheel of life is going to keep having these spins, and since you're in the game, you're a part of it. The author concludes with this really beautiful thought. You do your duty, and rest let destiny reach you to your life purpose. Focus your energy on your own role. Make your decisive actions. Play your cards the absolute best you can. Strike the board when that opportunity arises. And then, just release your grip. Let destiny handle the ultimate outcome.
Which brings us to the end of our analysis today. We've explored the board, we've gone over the rules, and we've analyzed that delicate balance of luck and strategy. You are a player, and the dice is in your hand. So, what's your next move in the game of life? Thank you so much for joining me for this Explainer Focused Learners. Take these philosophical frameworks back into your own unpredictable reality. Remember to add your own sugar and butter, and I'll see you next time.